Ruffalo, Brian Bitler, Jovan, and Al Ninos. We might have some other guests stopping by as the show progresses, but we are here with your live show. We're live 7 days a week, 365 days a year. No excuses, just free picks. I don't think we've never had the cap or flu. I've missed a couple days. Chris missed about a year on double secret probation. Brian gets fired every other day, so he's used to it. It's weird because he gets fired on either end of the show, right? It's either before the show or after the show. So it's kind of.
It's not one, it's the other.
But it's like of all the arguments that we have, it's like we've only had really one good knockdown drag. It's kind of like the Brian Rod.
That was the one where I threw my water bottle across the room and exploded, and I think I knocked the stuff off my desk too.
Brian and Rod had the good knockdown drag out one time.
Oh yeah, me and Rod had it.
That was a great one.
If only the Phillies could have hit the strike zone like that.
Yeah. Rufal and I are twinsies today with our sports chat gear. Brian representing the Pick Dogs brand. Anyways, no hoops last night, just a lot of baseball yesterday. It was one of those weird schedules where it kind of started early, 12:35 Eastern, it kind of just went all night, right? It just seems like, that just 11 Yerfies yesterday. I know all three of those ones that I said, all three of those early games when I said I like Yerfie all three, they all three Yerfied. All three of those did. There was 11 Yerfies yesterday. The Nerfie is the squarest bet in town. When you see like some of these other YouTube channels with like these doofuses on there talking about their Nerfies and on Twitter, it is time to auto fade that thing. Just turn it on.
Maybe you need a Yerfie guy. Maybe you need Mitch's Yerfies every day and put them in as a premium.
Nah, I think it's more fun like this. This way I get to kind of accuse other people of
It's your fault it didn't
of not being as good as us. It's kind of like in not so many words. It's like, well, we're better at this than they are. Not so many words. The funny thing is that I always do it in so many words, right? It's like that's where I always get it. That's where I always make my friends. It's like we're better at this, and we're not afraid to admit it. But yeah, a lot of action on today's card. Of course, we've got Game 7 in Miami as well, on top of a Major League Baseball card. No hockey. I know you guys are going to shed a tear over that one. Jovan looks to be a little depressed about it. I know. No hockey today, but he's used to it. He lives in Boston. There's usually no hockey in May in Boston anyway. But anyways. Even when I lived in Boston like many years ago, what's black and gold and plays golf every April.
I don't know. The Bruins are famously they've been a solid hockey franchise. I don't know. I like the Bruins.
It's
Chris, how many cups do they have like in recent years? I know they have one, right? Fairly recent.
I think they had the one. I think it was 2010, 2011. They won one.
And then before that, 1972.
Yeah,
so spread out pretty.
The Orr teams. It's like. They still always show that picture of Bobby Orr, like sideways in the air.
Yeah.
All right. Only one thing Leafs they can't take away from my Leafs is 55 years longest drought.
Okay.
Not something I'm proud of, but it's something I'll take it. And don't mention the Boston Bruins around a Leafs fan. We still have PTSD from that.
Leafs are like the Cubs of the NHL.
It's offensive. How dare you?
Would you have to put an end to it for it to be PTSD? Isn't it still ongoing trauma? I don't think you heard that one.
Anyways, let's just get going here. Let's hit the Major League Baseball schedule. I was just seeing if anyone else was going to pop on. So far, nobody. Let's just roll it. You guys ready?
Yep.
All right. Usually wait about 5 minutes. That's what we've done. So I feel good about it. got the Reds and the Giants, the early start. This is the new thing, the 11:35 a.m. Sunday start game. They do it every single week now, and I think this is a prelude to the thing that I had talked to Commissioner Manfred about many years ago. Well, I talked. He didn't listen. He didn't return my emails, didn't return my calls. Said that if you put the games at off times, you're going to get a better viewership for your product. And that's what they've done here. All of a sudden, this early 11:35 start, people really care about it. And I think if they do this at 1 o'clock Eastern time on weekdays and 4 o'clock Eastern time on every weekday, have a game at 1 o'clock and a 4 o'clock Monday through Friday, especially those 2 months where it's only baseball, there's no basketball, no hockey, no football, I think that it will increase baseball interest, especially with sports betting, increasingly popular. I think it will increase its interest tenfold. I don't know where I get that number from. I just kind of pulled it out of thin air, but I think it will increase interest substantially. And I think most of you guys agree with me. I'll put words in your mouth since that's what I do. We've got Reds and the Giants, Red Sox and the Orioles. Going to want to bring a glove to Fenway today. And you got the Washington Nationals against the Rockies. Oh, say yes to the Yerfy. Ruffalo, what do you think of these three?
I wish Romanelli was here so that I could ask him how much the value of his Alex Cobb NL Cy Young futures bet's worth, because I'm guessing not very much right now. But you got two pitchers in that game with an ERA well over 6. And I think there's going to be runs in bunches here. I don't know how we don't have a total that's in double digits. Love the over 9. That game, I'm also going Yerfy. I'm going over 1.5, over 2.5, over 3.5 in the first inning. I think the runs come in bunches quickly in that one. I agree. I like the over in the Baltimore-Boston matchup. I think we hit double digits there as well. And I like the Colorado Rockies on the money line. You know, I know Josiah Gray's been Washington's best shot at a win for much of the season, but he's also allowed 13 runs in his last 9 innings across 2 starts in his last 2 starts at home. And Kyle Freeland, he's had his issues. The Rockies' bats have had their issues on the road. But I think he's given up 1 run in back-to-back road starts, and I think he could help the Rockies take one here. So give me the Rockies at plus money in that one.
Brian, you saying yes to the Yerfy?
No, I could see the Yerfy coming in. I haven't got into that just yet. But in these games, it does seem kind of public to take the over here. But Giants and Reds have 2 pitchers here, could easily get the over individually. I also like the Reds plus money. They seem to have gotten hot and made up for that slow start this year. Boston and Baltimore, I'm going to take the Orioles again on the run line. Orioles split yesterday. Zimmerman has pitched rough last couple outings, and Pavetta's been on point. But I think in this one, it's a 1-run game. I'll take the Orioles plus 1.5.
An odd anti-Pavetta play for Brian here. Jovan?
Yeah, in this early game, I'm going to roll with the Reds. They're streaking right now. You know, who would have thought that they'd have 15 wins, considering that a couple, maybe less than 2 weeks ago, you know, they was sitting at 6 wins.
3
You know,
3 and 21.
3
right?
wins, yeah.
3 and 21.
Crazy. So, you know, they considerably harder team than they were. They were ice cold, you know. So I expect them to. Is this a 4-game series or a 3-game series?
I think this is the 4th game, right?
Yeah. So Cincinnati won the last 2, or they won the first 3. They don't know.
It is. No, this is actually only the 3rd game.
Yeah. So I expect them to sweep them out. Just don't like the way Alex Cobb's pitching. I mean, Tyler Mahle, he's no prize, and you know, he's no prize at home neither. But you know, I just think that you know, once you catch these teams streaking like they are, they're on a 4-game winning streak, or they should get it done. And I expect the over in this one as well. The Red Sox Orioles game. Yeah, I gotta go against the hometown team. I think they're due for. I think they lose this game. It's just like the Red Sox that'll lose a game that, you know, where they're $1.85 favorites. You know, and as much as I want to take the over, I think it dies on the vine. I think they score early, but somehow, some way, they can't put runs. You know, neither team can put runs on the board in the late innings. Wind's blowing in slightly, in from center. So, I'm gonna take the under in the Baltimore Red Sox game.
How about you, Al Ninos?
I like the over in the Giants Reds game. I like the Red Sox -1, and I like the over in the Nationals Rockies game.
All right. I like the Yurfie in all three of these games again. I just think Sunday mornings were meant for the Yurfie. Just really what it's all about. And Tyler Mahle and Alex Cobb are just the kind of guys to serve one up for, especially in that ballpark in Cincinnati. I think Nick Pivetta he's been a Yurfie guy before there ever was such a thing as a Yurfie. And Josiah Gray, oh man, it used to be the second time through the order that teams batted in the high 300s against this guy, but now it's the first time through they're hitting in the high 300s against them. This guy might have one of the worst batting average against that I've ever seen. He is way up there. Too bad we don't have Romanelli here for us, with us. But the thing is that Josiah Gray is considerably better during the day than he is at night. During the day he's actually 3-0, and at night he's 1-4. Gets crushed. He's got a .55 ERA in day games and 8.1 in night games. This guy he's night and day. He's a different pitcher. It's night and day what we get from Josiah Gray. Yeah.
They should only start him during the day.
It's pretty much what it comes down to. They should be doing my plan of calling the commissioner and getting those day games during the week. They should be like the Cubs. Just take the lights right out of the stadium. It's like when Cincinnati built the ballpark for Ken Griffey Jr. to break the home run record. They just made it so it was super easy to hit home runs, Like, let's make a tiny little baseball stadium so one of our players can break the home run record. It's not a bad strategy. I think Josiah Gray would appreciate that.
Probably thought more home runs. Yeah, more home runs would sell more tickets too. But yeah, that's probably the main reason.
It was 100% the reason. It was 100% the reason. They openly admit it. It's not like it's it's the reason. It's not. It wasn't one of those. It was like, we have Ken Griffey Jr. He's a hometown kid. We want him to break the home run record right here. So they built the stadium with a short porch for him, and he ended up being injured the whole time he was there.
Right. Isn't that how they lured him there or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how they lured him to the Cincinnati Reds, yeah. That's one of the reasons.
Yeah.
That and his father played there, so.
Yeah, he's from there. He went to Moeller High School. He's from there. My wife and I went to his first game in Cincinnati. It was at the old Riverfront Stadium, and it rained. Home run, right? It rained like, sheets. It came down in sheets. They called the game finally, and we left. The worst part of it was not even the rain. It was at 98 degrees sang the national anthem. It was gruesome. Anyways, my wife didn't even get a pretzel. She just pointed to herself and said, I didn't even get a pretzel. Anyways, yeah, it was not a fun day at the ballpark. I think they played like 2 or 3 innings. And, of course, Nick Lachey hammed it up for the camera during that national anthem. It's both. I think there's 2 Lacheys in 98 degrees. Put it this way. It traumatized me that much. I'm still talking about it.
Drew the forgotten Lachey.
The forgotten Lachey. Anyways, let's go to the Braves and the Marlins. We've got the Tigers and the Guardians of the Galaxy, and then the Tampa Bay Rays broke through. Garrett Cole, the weak link in the Yankee rotation, up against the Yankees and the Rays. And now, the Rays are the type of team. They find that little crack, right? And all of a sudden it becomes a river, pouring through it. Chris, what do you think of these 3?
I really like the value we're getting with the Marlins plus the 1.5. I'll put a little bit on the money line as well, but I think 1.5 is the way to go in this one. Alicia Hernandez, he has had issues all season long, but his last start, prior to the 1 inning he threw out of the bullpen last time out, he gave up just 1 run over 5 innings of work against the Atlanta Braves. It was a 4-3 loss for the Marlins. But I think the Marlins have a ton of confidence after Sandy Alcantara's dominant start yesterday. I think they come out, try to win the series finale, but at worst, I think it's a 1-run game for a Braves team that hasn't really blown teams away with Max Fried on the mound. And I'm also going to go with the under 6.5 in that Yankees and Rays matchup. I know it's a rock bottom low total, but I like Luis Severino, what he's done. I think he can keep the Rays in check, but I also expect Shane McClanahan to have a really, really good outing against this Yankees lineup. Expect a ton of bats to be missed. So the under 6.5 for me to play there.
Brian?
Yeah, I think I'm addicted to betting on the Miami Marlins. I just can't resist them almost no matter what. And today's another case. I agree with Chris. I'm going to take the Marlins plus the 1.5 here. Hernandez definitely not their best option, probably their worst option. But I think Max Fried can he'll give up a few runs here, and the Marlins can keep it within 1. And then the Guardians of the Galaxy, I'll take them minus 1.5 here. Tristan McKenzie's been phenomenal. He's been the pitcher that we were expecting to see probably earlier. But against what the Detroit Tigers have out there, I'll take the Guardians, lay the 1.5.
Hate the Guardians name. Hate them. Jovan?
Yeah, I'm on the Guardians as well. Better pitcher on the mound. Guardians squad that could hit righties, one of the best in the majors against righties. Going up against Elvin Rodriguez, who should get pounded today as far as I'm concerned. And whenever you see a Yankees team that's getting plus money, I gotta fade that. Something's wrong with that because you usually don't see it with the Yanks. So I'm gonna roll with Shane McClanahan to get it done. And Chris is right on this. With this low total, neither team has showed that they could, that they could hit in this series. And with the lineup that the Yankees are gonna put out there today, I expect it to stay under this total.
El Niños.
I like the over in the Cleveland-Detroit game. I also got a free play on Instagram in this slot too, so check that out. But I like the over in the Indians Tigers game here.
El Niños. The IG pick.
Hey, they've been pretty good. Hope I didn't just jinx them. But.
Are you so on IG? Are you doing like a written pick, like one of those frames? Or are you doing like?
Oh no,
reels?
I just put the pick up.
You doing reels?
No,
you reeling? Doing some reels?
I thought about it today, but
I think you should. I think you should show off your personality. Maybe
I
dance
like
a
it.
little.
Can we guess the pick, or do we have to?
No,
we have to
no,
go
that-
to
that
Instagram
might-
and check it out?
that might crash
Dodgers minus
Instagram
1
right
is the
there.
pick.
No. I was thinking Braves minus 1.
Oh, Yankees plus 1.
No. Well, we're gonna have to go.
Only
to
one way to find out.
I'm gonna go there right now and find out. I'm excited.
I just once want to scream, Alvin.
All right. So for me, I'm on the. I don't know. I think Max Fried is generally a slow starter. He's definitely pitched a little better than his normal slow starts, but boy, it just seems like a lot of odds you got to lay on the Braves here, who haven't really been overly impressive. I mean, yesterday it wasn't like once Alcantara came out, they got the ball rolling, had momentum. In fact, they tried to cheap the Braves a run there. Did you guys see that? They tried to cheap them one, and the Marlins called them out on it. It was one of those replay reviews where it was like, is there any possible way we can screw the Marlins here without anybody crying, like this is ridiculous? Because the replay took probably 25 minutes. The guy was out by a mile. I mean, he was out by a mile. It was like, is there any possible way we can do this? And finally they called him out. It's like, oh my God. And that was the only run the Braves got. It was the only time they threatened. It was pretty much it for them. So I don't know. I'm a little leery there. We know Elsner can give up a lot of Alezier can give up a lot of home runs. I think maybe a little home run prop there for the Braves, but I don't know if we can take them to win. Then Luis Severino. You guys know my thoughts on the Yankees. Any pitcher not named Cole, you can at least take a look at, but the plus odds on the Yankees is normally come on in. We got it's an all you can eat buffet. The books are like, come on and have one of those free drinks. Got the Cubs and the White Sox. Hall of Famer Johnny Cueto, a little bit of bump in the road yesterday. Minnesota Twins against the Royals, and then the Cardinals against the Brewers. My guess is that if you want to get a hot dog at the game in St. Louis, you're probably going to want to get it before the game starts because you only got about an hour and 45 to 2 hours to work with in this thing. It is going to be a quick one in St. Louis. Chris?
Yeah, I think it is going to be quick. Don't tempt me with a quick hot dog. I won't be sad about that. But I think there is value with the Cardinals at home. Miles Michaelis, he's pitching very well, and I think that there is something to be said for this Cardinals lineup. The Brewers have a tendency to shut down offensively at times. We've seen it before, and I think we could see it again. Corbin Burns pitches fairly well this year, but I think he's only got a 2-2 record. So, it just goes to show that the Brewers aren't necessarily always giving him that support he needs to get the win. So, I lean towards the Cardinals there, and I like the over, the over between the Kansas City Royals and Minnesota Twins. Zach Greinke not missing bats, and I think this Royals offense is capable of backing him up. We've seen it in his last few starts. Sonny Gray for me, not a -189 pitcher, but we also know what the Minnesota offense can do. So I think this game gets up closer to 9, maybe even 10 runs. Give me the over 8.5 there.
Is this it for Zach Greinke? Is this his last year?
Potentially.
I'd love to see him move into the bullpen, into a closer role. I think he would be super effective.
But do you think he would actually go for that?
Dennis Eckersley did, and he was awesome.
Fair.
You don't see enough of that, where you see like the Dennis Eckersley, where they become like this closer when they were great starters. And I think there are a lot of starters that could do that. That would be much better than what we see from now. I think Blake Snell would be amazing for an inning.
So your boy Urias did a good job in the couple years ago when he came in relief.
Happens, Some guys are just really good and that can just come in for an inning. Blake Snell he's definitely one of those starters that doesn't get hit early, right? So it's like he might be one of those good closers. Let me send a little email at Padres.com and see what comes back.
Another one of your ideas where you suggested a Manfred, and it's like someone deletes it but passes it off as their own.
Well, how about my idea for the bubble? Right? How about my idea for the NBA bubble? And then they do the same thing 2 months later in a different city.
Like, wait a minute. Okay.
We wrote this email to Adam Silver on the show describing the full bubble. We wanted to do it in Maui because it was self enclosed environment, right? And it was like it was a tourist place where there were no tourists, right? So there was plenty of availability for housing for the players and their families. They did the same thing, a different tourist place. Actually, a better venue in Disney where they had more courts. But still, they did the same thing. Exactly the way I described it. All-day basketball. Starting at about 2 o'clock in the afternoon and just play all night. And that's exactly how they did it at 2 venues, right? It was exactly how I described it. Meanwhile, he probably never read my email and had the same idea. Anyways, Brian.
Thank God the bubble's over with. Jesus. I hate the bubble. Hate the bubble.
I don't know if I hate the bubble, the concept of the bubble more, or the no fans in the stands.
I don't like the no fans with the stupid computer screens and people pretending.
The cutouts were the worst. How sick were you of the cutouts? Then like a little bit of water on the outdoor cutouts, they start to sag a little bit. It's like I hate the cutouts. Like when you first saw them, it was kind of like, oh, that's pretty cool. It's like people had themselves out there in the cutouts. Then like by about a weekend, you're just like, so sick of these cutouts.
I will always remember there was a Heat game. I don't remember who they were playing, but someone's they had like the fan videos playing, and someone's froze, and it was just a guy disappointed because the nacho cheese fell on his shirt. And he's sitting there just looking down at it. It's frozen as Jimmy Butler's inbounding the basketball. I lost it.
In that group in the games here, I'm going to start off, and I'm going to take the Kansas City Royals plus 1.5. It's negative odds here. I think they're paying you plus money for Sonny Gray, who's been absolutely fantastic. The Twins, I just think the Royals off that win yesterday, they keep this one within a one. It looks like they're suckering you in here to Minnesota. I can't fall for it. Then the Cubbies got it done yesterday, and Dylan Cease. I'm usually a Cease guy, but maybe I'm just anti White Sox today, but I think Stroman has his third good start in a row. Cubs get the W, and then the Brewers out and the Cardinals. I'm going to take the Brewers after 2 losses. I think Corbin Burns is just on another level. Miles Mikolas is having a great season, but for me, Burns is the better pitcher. Brewers lost 2 in a row. There's a reason they're laying minus 140 or so. I'm going to take the Brewers, play the juice.
Yeah, April pointing out Hall of Famer John Smoltz, another pitcher that went from starting pitcher to the bullpen, super effective. It's like if you have a guy like Snell who's only going 4 innings anyway. I mean, why not? Why not? Anyways, Jovan.
Yeah, so I'm a lean Twins, even though they're the type that'll score a bunch of runs, be up, 3, 4 runs. The next thing you know, it's a tie ball game. Their bullpen is giving it up, and but I'm gonna set that aside and take the Twins on the run line just to bring that juice down. I'm also gonna go with the under in the Brewers and Cardinals game. Just with these 2 pitchers, the way they've been putting in work, got to take the under or nothing in that one. That's it.
Al Niños.
Yeah, pretty good matchups here. I like the Twins, but I'll go -1 here, especially at home. I think the White Sox are the better team. I mean, disappointing yesterday, but I think they bounced back. So I'll go White Sox -1, and I do think, despite Mikolas' numbers, Burns is the better pitcher, as Brian said. So I'll take the Brewers that bounce back here.
All right. I like the Twins. I'm going to lay some runs here. Twins have not been at their best in this series. The Royals seem to really get to them. I like the under first 5 in the Cardinals-Brewers game. That's where I'm going. I think what happens sometimes is you get these guys that are really tough to hit, and sometimes they come out of the game, and all of a sudden whoever comes in to relieve them is just, they're seeing like a beach ball. It happens to Scherzer all the time. It had to happen to him in Washington a lot, where it's like he pitches this great game and then he comes out. Jacob deGrom is another guy this happens to all the time, right? How many times? Remember deGrom had like the .04 ERA and like he couldn't get a win. It's because they come out and it's like everybody else is so inferior to them, on the thing. So I think possibly we see that in this game. So maybe it's the first 5 under.
The year his team just wouldn't show up either on offense when he was pitching, and they wouldn't score any runs.
Well, here's my take on that is that if you're the number 1 pitcher, you're always facing the other team's number 1 pitcher. So it's like you have to have the ability to throw a shutout once in a while, or one. If you're the number 1. Like Kershaw, that's why it makes Kershaw great number 1. He's a 1-run, 0-run guy when he was at the peak of his career, which lasted quite some time. But he was always a 1-run, 0-run guy. He had the 59 innings, right, where he didn't allow a run. And it's like if you're a number 1, you have to be able to shut the other team all the way down because you're facing off against the other team's number 1. It's Kershaw, but he was up against Bumgarner for the Giants, right? When they played the Giants, he only pitched against Bumgarner. When he pitches against, the Tigers, it's him against Verlander back then, right? It's like it is a tough. Why starting pitcher win-loss record really isn't a very good stat.
Mm-hmm. Fair enough, yeah.
Anyways,
You're getting the first 5 under 3.5 at -120. I think it's a gift.
yeah, I think so too. I think worst case scenario, one team up 3-0 in that thing.
Yeah.
Worst case scenario. I see 1-1, I see 0-0, or I see 3-0. I don't see anything more than that. Go to our next set, and we've got the A's and the Rangers, the Angels and the Blue Jays, and the Diamondbacks and the Dodgers. Chris?
Yeah, I like the value I think that we're getting with Toronto. You know, I get it. Patrick Sandoval's pitched extremely well this season, ERA under 2, but his last 3 starts have come twice against the Oakland A's and against the Washington Nationals. So I want to see how he kind of does here against a team with a bit of a pulse. So I'm going to take the Toronto Blue Jays in this one. I think the Blue Jays offense has really woken up in this series, and even if it's a close game, doesn't matter to me as long as the Jays win. And I think they get the win at +110. And I like the over 9.5 between the Dodgers and the D-backs. Tyler Anderson's pitching well, but we've also seen him get blown up sort of in the middle of this nice run that he's been on. And Zach Davies, you know, he gave up 5 runs to the Dodgers in his last start, and I don't know if he's really healthy. I think he took a comebacker off the shin in that start. And like I said, I just don't know if he's fully 100% here. So I think we can get at least 10 runs in this game.
You'll come back or off the shin. You think pitchers will start wearing the shin guards, kind of like the batters, now wear like all these things all
I
over
used to
them?
wear a shin guard when I was pitching. Well, softball.
I'm not.
Brian walks up in full-on catcher.
Hey, they hit darts back at the match, man. That hurts. I've been hitting the ankle.
I've said this story. I pitched. You know, I used to pitch batting practice in high school. You know, I played on the baseball team, and I always wanted to pitch, but I was never good enough to be an actual pitcher. So they would let me pitch batting practice, and I would just get shelled, you know. And I had one came right back, hit me square in the forehead, and just knocked me out cold.
So you had the full-on Charlie Brown comeback.
Oh yeah, it was like smacked me right in the head. It was like Bassett last year. It was like but it hit me square in the forehead. It was like bang, and it just knocked me out. I was just out cold. And I tell you what, I got up and I didn't even feel a thing. I didn't really even have like a bump or anything from it. It was like, man, but it was just, I mean, they would just tee off on me. I had no stuff, you know, I had no stuff. I thought I had a breaking ball, but the problem with it is it broke like right down the middle of the plate, kind of like Patrick Corbin. It was just like that. So basically it was just like, it came over the top. It had like the perfect rotation coming over. It looked great, but it was like 41 miles an hour. People would just sit back on it. And especially it was my own team and I was pitching batting practice. So they knew what was coming. You know, it was like,
Mitch discovered the eephus pitch before it was even a thing.
It just crushed me. Oh man.
Only a breaking ball because of what it broke when it came back at you.
Oh, anyways, where are we at?
Me, I guess. I guess now we know how you became a Miami Hurricanes fan because it was after you got hit in the head.
No.
All right, it's a bad joke. All right, so for me in this time frame, I'm going to go with the Arizona Diamondbacks and Dodgers to go over the total. I agree with Chris here. I think Zach Davies is good to give up a certain amount of runs, maybe a half dozen. And then you got Tyler Anderson, who's no prize out there. I think the Diamondbacks can get to him as well. So I'll take the over 9.5. I'm also going to take the Arizona Diamondbacks on the run line. I'm addicted to fading the Dodgers. I can't help it. So I'll take the Diamondbacks plus the 1.5.
Jovan.
Yeah, I'm gonna roll with the Angels to get off the snide with this 4-game losing streak. Toronto's been hot. You know, they're on a 4-game winning streak. They're hitting lefties. You know, I understand all that, but the Angels are 6-1 with Patrick Corbin with Patrick Sandoval on the mound. So I'm gonna roll with the Angels to get a win under their belts.
Jovan trying to fade Corbin on his day off. I like the effort. I mean, if there was only a way. Al Niños.
I like the Rangers a lot here. Oakland hasn't been good, and they play well in Oakland, so I think they have the better lineup here, and as much as I hate to say it, maybe the better starter too. I like the over in that Angels game with the wind blowing out a little bit. And sure, I could get behind the over in the Dodgers Diamondbacks game.
So when you're looking at the better starter, right, and you're one of the few people that says that often,
Yeah.
and we look at a guy like Caprillion, right, who hasn't gone past 5.2 innings in a game this season. What's more important here? Is it the bullpen or is it the starter? Because it's like he generally, if you look at the numbers as far as the starting pitcher goes, he has the better numbers than Dane Dunning. So it's just a matter, is the bullpen. I'm trying to figure it out myself because it's like I struggle with this all the time, right? Because now the starting pitchers, 5-6 innings, they're all in a strict pitch count. Some guys are more economical than others with their pitches. Very, very hard to know. And if you're going on starting pitching, I mean, is first 5 the only way to bet that? I'm just trying.
Usually, yeah. When I do like the dog, and it's especially if it's a bad lineup, then the only way I will look at it is the first 5, because you're basically betting on the pitcher. I mean, no matter how good the pitcher is, we just talked about DeGrom. He's not going to do any scoring for you unless you got Ohtani or something. But in most cases, a good pitcher won't get any scoring done for you. So you still got to be careful with that. And as I said here, I think the Rangers have the better starter, the better lineup, and that little interesting stat you mentioned not too long ago, that 70% winners is the
Team that scores
first
first.
team that scores first wins 70% of their games. And I suppose that number, they are on the road here. So I was gonna say, that number should only go up if it's the home team that scores first. But yeah, the Rangers are on the road here.
I wonder if it's dogs are favorites or if the 70%.
Yeah, I'm sure that's all.
I wonder if it's because
especially in baseball with the home team.
In the last few days, we've seen a few comebacks. We've seen a few comebacks the last few days in the one run variety.
Mm-hmm.
That Phillies, or was it the Blue Jays Angels the other night? I mean, that thing was back and forth.
Yeah, I'm curious what the number is for the home teams that score first, and then for the favorites that score first.
Did the Phillies pretend like they were going to win last night? I think they were up 2-1. The charade.
That's okay. They'll get him tonight. No.
We'll get him next time. I haven't seen managing like that. It's so weird when you see Buck Showalter outmanage somebody. It's just like it's just tough. It's like, how in the hell does that even happen?
And then again, just one last thing on the starting pitch. And yeah, you can't put as much weight on the starting pitchers today as you used to because, yes, as you said, they just don't go as deep into the ball games.
But again,
I think it's
Scherzer,
still very important.
They're going to go deeper. They're going to go 7.
Yeah.
Scherzer.
Especially when you're talking about guys like that. Of course, that really matters then a lot. But
yeah, it's just
you got to have a lineup to score runs for you too.
Yeah, this is something that maybe, as we go further, I could talk to our tech team and put together something in the betting tools and something that we could use on these shows and kind of talk about these things, with some of these pitchers. I know Ron Romanelli in his rundown goes over a lot of these figures too. And it's just, the game is just changing every day. And it's like, it used to be, if this guy pitches, well, you kind of got to like it, but
Right.
you don't see it anymore,
I think the problem with me and dealing with bullpens is that you're dealing with it as a collective and not the manager's decision on who they're going to bring in, because that within itself is going to win you or lose you a game, especially if you're up and now you put in someone that's throwing slop and now he's turned a 3-run lead into a 2-run deficit. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So, yes, they use all the analytics in the world, but that managerial decision in the 7th inning or the 8th inning is going to kill you, or
or the
bring
9th.
home.
Mark Melanson's just clobbered me, a few times this season. I mean, he's
Right. So
who was the guy in the Rangers 2 years ago? He just couldn't find the plate. He was like their closer, and it's like he could not find the plate. It was like, oh my god, and they just left him in there.
Sam Dyson?
Yes, that's exactly who it was. Oh, I'd almost cleared it from my mind. Comes in, he's like just tatted head to toe. It's like That ain't gonna work. It's like, how about throw the ball over the plate, then get tatted. It's like, you can have all the tats you want, but it's like, I'm not intimidated by a ball rolling across, 10 feet in front of the plate. It's like, that ain't gonna do it. This could take out a toe. Ridiculous. Anyways. I don't know. This Dodgers Diamondbacks just 225 on Tyler Anderson or whatever it is. I can't get there. Not even at the -1. I just can't get there. And Patrick Sandoval against Barrios. This is one where the betting tools like the Blue Jays, they've won 4 in a row, and they've actually dominated this series. It hasn't really, this is a series where it has not been the starting pitchers. I don't think one has got a decision in this series yet. Last night was settled late also, right? Didn't the Blue Jays score 3 late?
The first 2 games went right, didn't they?
I know that, no, Manoah didn't get a decision in his, and then yesterday was definitely settled in the 8th inning with 3 runs by the Blue Jays, 7th, 8th inning. So I don't think the starters factor there.
You're saying on the score sheet or the final score?
Well, like really in what the game came down to, Really, Manoah, I think, left the game. I think they were losing. If anything, they were tied. In that game.
I think he left the game at 2-2.
2-1, I think. 2-1.
Even 2-1,
I think they were 2-1. They were losing. Still a lot of ass slapping, a lot of high fiving. All the stuff that you see. When a guy like that leaves the field. A lot of ass slapping.
They won the game with Manoah, and then
right, but he didn't get the win, right?
No.
No. And then last night it was late.
Oh no, you're right. They also won the next game where
late.
Who started that one?
So I like Sandoval better than Barrios this season. Barrios to me is just a puddle of disappointment. This is a guy that former first-round draft choice that they thought, like the Twins and everybody, including myself, thought was going to be a frontline major league starter, and he never really became that. And he still isn't. Sandoval has been decent this year, for the Angels. Joe Madden is the guy that got Jake Arrieta a Cy Young Award. So, you have to pay attention there. The betting tools like the Jays here, I'm going to have to go against them and roll with the Angels. Anyways, we go to our last set of games. It is the Padres against the Pirates. Good series. Man, this is a good series. Not a lot of teams with yellow as their highlight colors in Major League Baseball, but this one's got 2 of them. And I tell you, good series. Got the Mariners and the Astros. A lot of people taking a bath in this series, too. And then you got the Mets and the Phillies, the nightcap. And, well, you got one of the 3 worst teams in all of the majors playing on the road. Chris?
For my, I only really love one play in this game. I like the Seattle Mariners on the money line, and mainly because they've just been the better team in the first 2 games of this series. The Houston Astros, I think they are the better team on paper here. They've been playing the better baseball over the course of the season. But Luis Garcia, not a pitcher I'm looking to lay -150 with on the road. And Marco Gonzalez, he's pitched well. He's given up 1 run in back-to-back starts. He held the Astros to 1 run over 7 innings of work in a start at home against Houston earlier this year. I think there's value with the Mariners there at +130.
Brian?
Yeah, I think the public's going to continue to get it handed to him in the Seattle Mariners Houston Astros game. Marco Gonzalez isn't anything special. He got lit up a little bit in his last start, but he's been somebody that can give Seattle a puncher's chance at winning games, and they're starting to play much better baseball. Luis Garcia, I think he's average at best starter. So I'm going to take the Seattle Mariners on the money line for another upset. And then the Phillies and Mets. Phillies have been horrible, but I think with Zach Wheeler on the mound, who's been fantastic. 33 innings pitched, 5 runs allowed, 40 strikeouts to just 6 walks. After that slow start, he's really picked it up. And Bassett off a game where he got torched. So for me, I'm going to take the Phillies on the money line here. I think they get a W.
Yeah, so I'm gonna roll with the with the Astros Mariners under. You know, I understand that Marco Gonzalez says, hasn't pitched well at this in his last start. Thought he pitched decent, but maybe I'm just missing something. But anyway, um that the Astros haven't really been hitting lefties like that this year. They're, or at least lately, if my memory serves me correct. But I don't know. I just see this as a game that's played under this total. So I look at this as a 4-3 if they get this game off, 4-3, 3-2 game for some reason. So I'm gonna take the under in that. I don't like anything else.
Alenios?
I'll go with the Padres to bounce back. -1 for me. And maybe a slight lean to the Mets Phillies over. But I don't like it as much as I did yesterday.
A little mumbling going on there.
Sorry, yeah, my sorry, I choked up there.
He's falling asleep on us.
I think the Astros also bounce back a little bit too. I mean, they haven't been great lately, but I don't know. I'm not a big Marco Gonzalez fan. So, and what I was saying earlier is I was leaning towards the Mets Phillies. Wind blowing out a little bit. Don't quite love it as much as I did yesterday. Or love it. I don't think I loved it yesterday too much either. But slightly lean to the over there, and. Yeah, as I said, Padres bounce back, I think, -1 for me. And don't really like this one too much, but I'd go Astros -1 as well.
I don't know. I like the over in that Astros-Mariners game. I think Gonzalez, the thing with him is he just doesn't have overpowering stuff. And I think, when you have a frustrated team like the Astros are, I think they might uncork on them. I like the under in the Padres-Pirates game. I think the Pirates have one of the better bullpens that we never get to see because they rarely get to the lead. So we don't get to see them. But I think they're super talented. And I think, as usual, the Pirates will find the most talented of those players. Even though they have a 4.28 ERA, I think you could throw that out the window. But because a lot of that ERA in the bullpen is long relief for when they're losing games. It's not the guys who come in when they're winning games. And someone will loot them, give them basically a bag of magic beans for, some future star on that one. We can only hope if you're, in the sake of fairness, that they get somebody pretty good for Quintana. But I don't know. I think that one is, I think runs are going to be tough in that one for sure. And I think the Phillies are just one of the 3 worst teams in all of baseball, and I'm going to continue to say that. And I'm going to take a quick look at the betting tools because I haven't looked at this angle recently. But I like to look at the teams that if you bet on them, how much money you could possibly have lost this season. And
I wonder who's worse, the Phillies or the White Sox, as far as.
Well, we're going to find out right now, Brian, because I'm going to read them off for you.
It's going to be close.
You go to sportschatplace.com. Might be familiar with it. You click on the betting tools tab, and over on the betting tools tab, one of the tools, the top one under the tools heading is profitable teams. You can click by sport. We'll go to Major League Baseball, and we'll look at the last 180 days, which would incorporate all of this season. If you look at the run line, which it defaults to first, if you bet $10 on the Phillies on the run line every single game, well, there's still 11 teams worse than you, but you've lost 3 units on that alone. And when it comes to that angle, let's see where the White Sox stand as far as the run line goes. The White Sox slightly better at only 2 units. So neither of them a prize, but the Phillies 33% work to the bad if we're just looking at percentages. Then when we go to the money line on this, it gets really, really ugly in Philadelphia as they're down 6.1 units for this season. It has been just really just giving away money, which is twice as much money as you would have lost if you bet on the White Sox every game, which you're still negative on the White Sox. Granted, they're no prize either, but you've lost twice as much money on the Phillies betting them straight up every single game. They are one of the worst teams in baseball when you look at the money, especially. It really puts things in perspective for you that if you bet on the Philadelphia Phillies, there's really no ceiling on how much money you can lose over the course of a season. Just throwing it out there. That's what I do. Anyway, speaking about making money, losing money, we got Game 7 in the NBA. I know there's some people out there that care about this. And it is the Miami Heat and the Boston Celtics. A lot of people did not think that we would be at a Game 7. A lot of people did not think that the Miami Heat would be standing. And it's those same people, ironically, in the YouTube comments claiming now to be heroes, picking the Miami Heat to win tonight, which, as a Heat fan, it certainly scares me. Because these are the same people that paid me that plus 350 in Game 6 when the Heat had no chance whatsoever. Chris, we know you generally side with the Boston Bruins in all your hockey picks, but this one, Miami versus Boston, we're going to have a true East-West final, regardless of who wins this thing. You know, it's going to be East Coast, West Coast, opposite ends of the world here. Obviously, the Warriors and Heat a little bit further distance apart than the Celtics. Not much, though.
Yeah, I think whoever does get the win tonight, obviously going to earn it. But I think that's going to be from a physical perspective. I expect Game 7 to be a true Game 7. Big emphasis on defense and a very, very physical matchup. Potentially the most physical we've seen compared to any of the prior 6 games. I love I know it's a rock bottom total, but I love the under 196 here. I think it's first to 90, 95 at best wins this game. And like I said, I look for it to be just basically a knockdown, drag-out fight for a full 48 minutes.
Brian, Chris Ruffalo basically saying someone will win and someone will lose. Thank you,
And you
Chris.
know what?
So insightful.
Me and Chris are agreeing a lot on our free picks today. I really, I totally agree with his under here in the Miami Heat and Boston Celtics. But, I think a lot of bettors saw this game go over in game 6 and fly over that number. Now the total is 5 or 6 less. I think you're going to trap a lot of people into the over here, and this one is going to be a bloody knuckle brawl here. I'd like to say first team to 90 wins it, but I think 95 is more about right here. So I'm going to take the under 195.5. Probably should have been a premium play. I really like it.
Jovan, are they trying to sucker us with this Marcus Smart prop that has hit the last 5 times in a row
games.
over 3.5 rebounds? Has hit 5 out of 5, and we're getting minus 106 odds on this.
Yeah.
Basically even money on a prop that's hit 100% of the time.
I mean, nah, it hasn't shifted. I don't believe this.
You think the books are the public's just missed this? Or?
They're just putting these props, these numbers out there. They're not really shifting anything. They might shift the odds from game to game, but on this particular one, I believe it was around this juice the last game, and it went over. This has been basically a short shot. This Marcus Smart over on rebounds, and he's in the paint enough to get his chances. And with the Miami Heat shooting a lot of threes and missing their fair share, you get these clangers that ends up in like wing territory. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, these are the Curry rebounds. These are the Curry. Right. These are the Curry rebounds. The same.
Right. Ones. So it's one to play.
It just seems that he seems to be in the right place at the right time for these rebounds.
Yeah, absolutely.
What do you think?
Not only him. There's other key guys on that court that the ball seems to come to them whenever there's a miss.
There's there's a bunch of odd things in tonight's props. Guys, head on over to the betting tools and take a look at these things. Jimmy Butler hasn't really strung together big games in the playoffs, and coming off of that 48 points, I like a lot of those unders. I just do. I mean, they won games without him having, anything. So I think they won a game with him scoring 8 points. So, I think some of those Jimmy Butler under props look super attractive tonight. I think the public's going to be all, after that performance, people got to be all over the over on that stuff. What do you think of the game itself?
The one thing I'll say about this game is that officiating is going to dictate how this game is not more so won or lost, but the total points in this one. You saw last game at the game 4 and game 5 were under games. You saw the referees blow that whistle far too much for my liking, and as a result, the total score was way over. It was like about 20 points over the total, or 15, 20 points over the total. So that's my thoughts on this one. If they're gonna allow the players to play and swallow the whistle, it's gonna stay under. If not, they're gonna see these guys go to the line, and you're gonna see them hit shots, hit from the cherry stripe, like both teams did in the last game, and that's gonna contribute to the over.
Al Niños. Little difference here for Jovan saying over, Brian and Chris under.
Oh no, I didn't say over. I just said it
sounded like you said over.
I just said if the referees blow the whistle and let them march to the free throw line, it's going over. If not, then it's staying under.
I expect to see them to let them play in this one, personally.
If that's the case, then it's staying under.
Well, that's just usually in Game 7 they let them play.
Usually.
If it's Scott Foster and Chris Paul.
What's the referees on?
Scott Foster.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. I got to see. Hold on.
David Guthrie, James Givers, James Williams.
These are the games where the referee pairings, it counts. Let's put it that way. Because some of these referees, they like to thrust themselves into the action way too much.
Scott Foster is.
I was fully joking about Scott Foster, but he's actually refereeing.
Yep.
All right. Well,
Home team 32-25. Foster.
Yeah.
Oh man.
I don't think he'll mind some TV time today.
It's.
Hey, listen. A player gives him some lip, they're liable to hit the showers real early.
It's possible.
I think it's going to be obviously both teams going to play hard and physical here. No one's going to go home easy, but especially in today's NBA, as I said, I don't think they'd mind a little extra TV time, the refs, and I think they're going to call those fouls, and that'll lead to some free throws, and I think this total is a bit too low. I can't go under this, so I'm looking at the over here.
I think points are going to be impossible to come by in this game. I really do. I think
you got great shooters today too, but
I like the Celtics in the first half of this game. I think they come out, and I think it's going to be a tight game. I expect it to get physical. These teams are so sick of each other. I mean, they are just sick of each other at this point.
You've seen some chippiness in the last couple games.
Yeah, these guys are sick of each other, man. They have had it, and it's like the thing is, it's not like one team has the ability to just blow the other out on a consistent basis. The games haven't been especially close, but no one's been able to do it consistently. I mean, I had the Heat money line last game, but I think most people were looking at the 9.5 points you were getting. That's, it's like that's what, the type of series this has been. But I think this might be the one where it does come right down to the end. And, we've seen the Heat in these tight games the last time they went to the finals in the bubble. And ironically, the guy who was the thorn in their side, even though they did make it to the finals, and the guy that hit those last second shots in that series that got them into the final was not on their team. He was on the other team, but now he's on their team. Now it's Kyle Lowry. Anyways, look for the Heat to look for this one to come down to the last minute of the game. This one could be overtime. I think it's going to be a war. A battle of
Good for
attrition.
my over.
A battle of attrition.
I'm going alternate. I'm going alternate total. Lowest I can go. Under 172.5. Plus 1,200.
I think it's possible. I think it's possible. I think it's possible this thing ends in the under 180.
83.79.
No, I don't think it goes there, but I think it could go. I think it could go 86, 80. 86, 80, 86, 80.
I'm really kicking myself for not taking the total as a premium. It's just a dumb move by me because it's an easy under for sure. I'm positive. Well, I'll hear about it tomorrow if it goes up.
All right. Well, speaking of prop bets or parlays, Chris, what do you got for us?
All right. Well, my parlay. I'll go with the. Let's see here. As I had 1 sec. I'm gonna go with the under in the Yankees and Rays matchup. The Colorado Rockies on the money line and the Miami Marlins plus 1.5.
Brian?
I'm going to go with the Mitch parlay. I'm going to take the Cubs money line, the Phillies money line, and the Heat under the total.
Jovan?
Tampa Bay. The under in the Brewers and Cardinals game. And the Angels.
Al Niños?
Man.
Prop or parlay. It's not like you didn't know we were coming to you.
No.
It's like, you always act like we're blindsided you or something. It's like, oh man.
Didn't see this one coming.
I mean, we saved you for last. We kind of.
Yeah. No.
We
I'll
didn't
go
mock
with
your minus ones you gave out. Well, at least,
Should we do a -1 parlay?
yeah, all minus ones. Just the whole board.
Padres -1.
How about a 17 -1 parlay lock?
I'll go Padres -1, Red Sox -1, and Instagram play. Go check it out.
All right, that's a good one.
All right.
I like the White Sox -1.5. I like the Angels, and I like the. Well, I gave that one as my premium on the premium show, so I like the over in the Astros Mariners game. So I would even go. That one's at 8. I would go to 11 on that one, or 10.5 over on the Astros Mariners. I think this has a potential. It's weird because we've seen a lot of low scoring games, but we've also seen a lot of really high scoring games, right? So I think it could happen. But anyways, thanks everyone for joining us. We appreciate each and every one of you. Be sure to smash that like button. We never say that. We should start begging for likes. Ruflo's good at it. If you give a like, come on.
We need some mom likes though. Make sure
The problem with Ruflo's begging for likes, he goes about 10 minutes too long on it. It's like he doesn't just say, "Hey, smash the like button." He's got to give a full explanation. Takes out his phone, shows you how to do it there. He screen shares his desktop to show you how to do it there.
I learned from the best.
Entices, offers some of those caramels, with the cream in the middle.
I'm not giving those away. Oh, that. Screw that. I paid for those.
Are they big on, in Canada, the thing that they were big on when I was there last was licorice wheels.
God.
They love the licorice wheel.
The licorice all sorts?
Yeah, that too.
Oh,
the all sorts and the
disgusting.
wheel. Yeah, and they love the licorice all sorts, which are the licorice flavored, and then the licorice wheel, which is like the wheel of licorice, which you can get in the U.S., but they're not nearly as goo-goo over it as they are in Canada.
Those are disgusting.
You love a licorice wheel. Who are you kidding? It's like...
Shut up. Don't expose me, okay?
Thanks, everyone, for joining us. Make it a winning day. We appreciate each and every one of you. Fun show.